Good morning, gentlemen. This morning in this assembly I wanted to talk to you about resilience. Resilience is a buzzword that's being kicked about a lot at the moment with us being back in school and with the ongoing COVID situation. But I just wanted to share with you some thoughts of myself and Mr. Cupid about resilience and what it actually means. One of the best descriptions of resilience that I've come across is from a YouTube site called That Thing We Do, and within it, it describes resilience as being like an elastic band. No matter what direction life pulls you and stretches you, no matter what stresses and strains you come under, an elastic band will return back to its normal position. And that is resilience. Whenever the elastic band returns back to its normal position, is like us after we face some stresses or strifes in our life, being able to deal with those, process them, and come back to normal afterwards. Every year I do an assembly about stumbling and resilience, and I use a couple of examples, one of which is Colonel Saunders, who at the age of 65 decided he wanted to sell his fried chicken to the world, and he took his recipe from around all his local diners, and he was met with no. Even though he showed a lot of enthusiasm, his answer was no many times before he eventually received his first yes, and from there grew the chain that is now KFC. In fact, another example of stumbling was J.K. Rowling, known for Harry Potter, who was knocked back in her first attempts to get the book published. And then also every year when I use this assembly, Mr. McRae comes up with a third example, but I'll leave that for him to explain. So if you can find Mr. McRae, he will give you an example of somebody else that was met with a lot of discouragement and a lot of no's until he eventually got things right, and it also showed resilience.
Good morning, gentlemen, and thank you, Mr. Hall, for outlining our key theme this week, which is resilience. Okay, so what do we actually mean by that? Okay, it's a term that is fired out in everyday life, but what actually does it mean? So for me, it's simple. It's that bounce back ability. So we all face our challenges, we all face adversity, we all have done this, but it's that ability to overcome this and get a positive outcome from it. So within the sports world, we've seen many examples. So this could be the Ryder Cup comeback from Europe. It could be Champions League finals that have won in the last minute or two. But the examples which I like to concentrate on, which are most impressive to me, are within the academic world. So it would be when we see pupils who have possibly struggled with an element of an exam or whatever it may be, or disappointed with the result. Then we see the pupils the following year, they've changed their approach, they're working even harder, and they've shown the resilience to dig in and to get much better results. Okay, so from a staff point of view, that would give me the most satisfaction, and it's one of the best examples of resilience that we would see within the college. Now, as you all know, I like a few videos within my assemblies, so I'm also a fan of Bear Grylls and that side of things, so I'm going to leave you with his thoughts on resilience and also a clip from a sporting context, of course. I hope you're all well, keep safe and work hard. See you soon.
First, the failures. First time I tried for the SAS, I was failed. And the raw truth is that I wasn't fast enough, I wasn't smart enough, and I wasn't good enough. And that truth hurt. People often don't know that I failed selection the first time, but my failures far outweigh the successes. I look at those failures and I know that they have made me. They've built my resilience, and they've forced me to adapt. They've forced me to get stronger, because there is no shortcut to any of our goals that's going to avoid failure. You've got to go through it if you're going to succeed. Comfort isn't really comfort if you haven't earned it. In other words, that first failure was actually the key. So you've got to embrace it. Don't run from the failure. Understand their role. Failure is just an essential mark you've got to pass through.
This is effort.
Where did he come from? Where did he come from? And we didn't know until replays.
We saw Ben was on the other side of the field, so he basically had to run like 120 yards, even longer than that to get that. Until I saw that, did I truly appreciate about the effort that he put forth. Man, it was a play that sort of signified just never giving up.
I'm running for a long time. That's what I'm thinking. You don't know if you ever had a helmet on, but when you're running full speed with a helmet on, this is all you see. Everything just bobbing, right? The helmet's bouncing. I remember looking up in the stands and seeing all the Denver fans going crazy. Saw Kevin Falk try to get him.
He stepped out of a tackle by Kevin Falk.
Then I ran to the ref. There was a point where it kind of turned into like a challenge for me. Kind of like, let's see how fast I can run. Let's see if I can get this guy. I was surprised by the time I got to him because I thought his boys would have tried to pick me up. I think they were tired too. so they just let me run past. Looking at pictures.